Evening all. Thanks for joining us. It's David Mulholland from Team TFC. I'm here with Chris Scott from ART to commentate and talk you through this evening's races. Apologies for some of the slightly glitchy video feeds that we're getting. Hopefully it improves as we go on. Just to give you a bit of background to the Mad Monday series and what we're covering tonight, we're basically trying to do things a little bit different. We've had a lot of pushback from people when we've asked people to upgrade if we think they're being too successful, and completely understandably so, because when you upgrade on Swift, you suddenly go from having been, very competitive in a class to suddenly being at the bottom end of a series and, just really struggling to actually hang on to the races. So what we've done, as you can see on the screen, is we've introduced a new split cat series where we're now having the mixed category racing across 8 different categories, ranging from the high end, obviously, of the A plus guys at 4.6 watts per kilo plus. I think certainly I don't know about yourself, Chris, but can only dream about reaching those levels. But the big opportunity, I think, is really for people like at the front end of the CCAT that move into B, rather than suddenly getting destroyed by racers that are 3.8, 3.9 watts per kilo. There's now a Cat B category that they can race out between 3.2 and 3.6. So hopefully that brings something different to the series, and we'll see how it goes tonight. Big thanks to Zwift for letting us do that in the race tonight. In terms of how the series works, it's a series of 9 races. So tonight we're starting in Watopia with the flat route for 4 laps and just over 40 kilometers. But it's not just a race to the finish. There's also bonus points on offer tonight. They'll be over the sprint section on laps 1, 2 and 3, and so should keep it very interesting for everyone as we go through the race tonight. We'll be trying to follow 4 races. Apologies if we miss anything, but we're following the Cat A series, the Cat B series, the Cat C series, and the Women's Cat D, obviously International Women's Day. So definitely want to show our support for that, and would love to continue to get more and more support in the Women's series over time. So do shout out to anyone else you think might be interested in supporting that. The point scoring and how that works, just to quickly run through it. The finishing positions will be scored from 100 points all the way down to 2 points for the last place rider. So everyone up to 54th place can contribute something to their team. And for an individual GC, although given the smaller categories, we do expect people to be moving between categories during the series. If you come over 54th place, you'll still contribute 2 points. So having good attendance within your team still will really help you do well overall in the series. The bonus points will be scored for the first 10 riders across the line. Obviously, given the smaller categories, we expect quite a lot of people to still be in competition as we get there. And so the 3 bonus points will be up to 20 points each, and should lead to a very, very good competition. In terms of the team competition, there will be 4 riders, the top 4 riders that count for some of the bigger categories. And just to give you the numbers, we've got 120 riders in the A Cat, 157 riders in the B Cat we're following tonight. It's 83 in the C, and I think something like another 20 in the Women's D Cat. So some big races out there tonight. But up to 4 riders will count if you get a full race, and they'll all go towards it. So with that, I'll introduce Chris, who has just disappeared in terms of his video feed from me. I don't know if your camera's dropped off, Chris. We were relying on a video or a battery at the minute, so it's not ideal. Maybe we'll get Chris back at some stage on video, but we'll be following the racing shortly because the ACAT racers are just getting ready to roll out in 10 seconds. So we'll have some action going very shortly. But Chris, good to have you. I don't know if you want to tell us a little bit about ART before as the racing kicks off and they all start to roll out in front of us.
So the Adam Racing team, born out of a load of guys and girls who have got the Watt Bike Atom. It was started by, I think, 3 or 4 guys who rode in real life together. Jason, who's racing tonight, Steve, who's racing tonight, and a couple of other guys. They formed it on Facebook, and it just grew exponentially from there. And as Watt Bike got bigger and bigger, so did the group. I think we are up to about 400 members now, so things are going really well. Yeah, we're all over the country. In fact, we're all over the world. We've got representation over in America. I think we've got someone from Norway and Australia. So yeah, we're getting bigger and bigger. So
Certainly a truly global team.
Is one of our favourites.
And it's great to have you. And I think you definitely showed us all how it's done in the last series, where I think you could say you comfortably destroyed everyone else. To the extent that I think everyone saw the writing on the cards quite early on in the race. So well done for that, and hopefully with all the teams that we have in attendance, this series will be able to give you a bit more of a run for your money tonight and in the coming weeks. In terms of the team that I'm from, obviously I'm from TFC, and it's we've been running the Mad Monday series for a couple of almost probably 9 months. I've lost track of how many times we've run it now, but been building all through the while, and really pleased to get the chance to do something a bit different tonight, and really see what we can do in terms of the racing, and bring something different to the game. Apologies, I'm going to be a little distracted for a few seconds. I'm going to make sure that we get tracking on riders that are staying in the front of each of the races as they all start to roll out here. Otherwise, we'll be left in the pen, and won't be able to watch anything tonight, which would be very disappointing. So, but Chris, have you raced the Utopia flat course before? How do you find it as a race course as well?
It's got to be one of my favourites, especially for the event like the team time trial. But for this, it'll just be pretty brutal from start to finish. There's nothing significant that's going to probably split the riders up. There are no large hills where we'll see the potentially the slightly heavier riders that can't put out the sustained power. So I think tonight is just going to be full on. It's going to be hard, and it'll make the sprints a whole lot more interesting because we'll have hopefully have a huge peloton together. So Mike Hoodless, there are absolutely no excuses for you not getting up there in pretty much everything.
Put the expectation out there for who we should be watching from the ART team for sure.
I told him everything he knows, so I would really hope that he does well tonight.
And I'd love to say I can claim the same in TFC, but to be honest, having joined the team just after I joined Zwift, there's quite a few riders in TFC that have taught me everything I know. So as I mentioned, we've got 4 races running tonight that we'll jump across. We've got the A Cats, we've got the B Cats, who try and make sure I don't get random camera angles at the same time, and the C Cat race as well. But expecting some pretty tight racing. Interesting, actually, just jumping into the women's race here. We've got slightly wider categories in the women's race, and it seems like we've already got a bit of a split at the front. It looks like ART has decided to really press on from the get-go. Already got a bit of a gap going there, with about 7 or 8 riders that have pulled a good 3 seconds already from the start. So it looks like you definitely want to win this one tonight.
Yep, absolutely. The ladies are the ladies is probably one of our fastest growing sections within the team. We've got new people coming on all the time, so. Again, just a bit of advertisement that if there are any ladies out there with a watt bike, please come join us because it is growing, and it's just brilliant to have representation across the whole range.
Yeah, so it looks like this front group's been quite selective. Trying to do the math, it looks like about 9 riders that have made it into the front bunch tonight, and definitely going to be putting a squeeze on some of the other teams. That group behind is going to have to really work together. Maybe 10, 11 riders if they want to bridge that gap, but it's definitely not going to be easy, given how hard they've pressed on at the front. If we move to our biggest race of the evening, the B-Cat race tonight, looks like we have a massive peloton. I think it's going to be interesting for sure when we get to the sprints on the B-Cat tonight. With 159 different riders, all battling for position as we get in there. I don't think there's even been any selection so far. It looks like everyone's still in the bunch, which is one of the benefits, but I think it should lead to some very interesting racing as teams have to think differently about how they try and split the field up.
I think the section that they are going up right now, possibly see a bit of a split there. It's one of the few uphill pulls of the course, just coming out of the underwater tunnels. So might see things stretch out a little bit there.
Yeah, definitely. That's as you say, it's quite interesting this course as you start coming into the sprint. I forget what way round we do it on the flat course when you get to the sprint. I quite like the sprint when you do it on the seaside course because you end up spending a bit of the lap going round on the before you come up into the hill climb, and it really benefits a bit of a long sprint if you get in the right position. If I remember right, on this course we end up rolling round to it on the slightly flatter grinds through the Italian village as we come to it. So it's a bit more of a steady sprint. Really would benefit a big lead out train, and I'll be intrigued to see if any of the teams manage to get into formation as we get there. If we jump over to the A race, we're not too far away from starting to reach that sprint. It's from what I saw, it should be somewhere around 7 to 8 kilometers that we hit the sprint, and again, very very big bunch here. I think the sprints will be very difficult. It could cause quite a big split up in the bunch, and it'll be interesting to see how the teams hold together. And thanks everyone for tuning in tonight. Should be a pretty exciting race, but it's good few certainly TFC riders. I'm sure there's a lot of ART riders in there as well. I haven't quite seen them myself at this stage. I'm trying to find a good overhead camera angle to see. Yeah, there's a few in there. But I think
we've got a few.
The big teams up at the front, we've had quite a big attendance from ART and TFC in this race. There's quite a few from the Swedish Zwift Riders team as well. Foudre as well, great to see them back. We had a really good competition last summer as we went into lockdown and everyone couldn't race outdoors, and everyone jumped onto Zwift, and so it was great to have Foudre back in force, which, as I've learned, my little piece of French I think stands for lightning. So let's see if they can be as fast tonight as the name suggests, especially when it comes to the sprints. Good to see Cryogen in force as well tonight, and Team Vikings. And as I say, all of the teams and the team captains have done a great job organising their riders to get in attendance tonight. It's been a little more complicated just with the way we're running the CAT system to make sure everyone's in the right series, in the right competition. But thank you very much for your support, and good to see everyone in those right places. So getting close to that sprint as we come around this next bend. It's just over the hill, and then we'll be
an uphill climb.
Yeah, I'll try and get the right camera angle as we head into it to keep an eye on it. It's a pretty tight bunch. I don't see anyone's dropped off the back yet. Definitely no real selection in the race yet. And lots of people are going to be battling out for it. I wonder if we'll get any sprint formations starting to form up as we roll in. Looks like TFC pressing for the front. ART starting to get up there a bit as well. There we go.
Yeah, you've got a nice downhill stretch as you approach the village over the cobbles, and then it is going to be pretty flat out. I would suggest they are probably starting to ramp it up from this corner onwards.
Yeah,
so
looks
with a
like
bit of luck, we will see them
trying to get to the front.
Yeah, pretty crowded.
There we go. And I should give a shout out to the Walloon team who have actually pressed quite a bit. So there we go. The sprints are starting to really press on now. There's Cryogen pressing. You can see the numbers ramping up, 10 watts per kilo. Sam Greenley, good to see him back again. Andy Robb from TFC pressing on as well. He's making a big effort for it with Sean Harris as well. Not sure they're going to make it. There's quite a big bunch of people pressing on behind them. Swedish Swifters definitely did very well there as well. So it was a pretty hot sprint for the first lap. I hope they all got a good warm up in before pressing on as hard as that. So, and it won't be
a brutal climb after the sprint as well. Just short and sharp around that corner that they're on now.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they can. See, it doesn't look like anyone's pressing on. I think that'll be the big risk on this course, is that a team decides to get themselves in position and then really press on after you come through the sprint up this little incline. I think you could see a few splits. and it does look like the field in the A-Cat is starting to split up a bit. So if we jump over to the B-Cat race now, they're just coming through the village again, getting ready to wind up for their sprint. Oh, where'd the riders go? There we go. So it looks like the Rhiners are here in force as well. Rhiners have also been big supporters of the series for us, so great to have them here tonight, and BRT as well. Some of these guys, this is one I should be in tonight if I wasn't doing commentating duties. And there's the sprint banner starting. And above new rider to TFC, actually joined us fairly recently. A good few. Looks like ART are pretty well represented up here at the minute. Crygen, is that? Or is that SC is pressed on at the front? Looks like it says.
Our founders at the front there. Got Jason Biles. Who's up there?
So I didn't quite get the right camera angle on that one. It was looked like there was a few Swedish rifters up there as well. Getting ready for it. So as we're about to have the C riders coming through in the same place. So looks like been quite a big split if you look on the map on the top right in the Cat C race. Quite a few different bunches actually have opened up here. So it looks like a few teams have really tried to make it hurt from the off, put a few riders under pressure. And obviously there's a reasonably small cat actually in terms of the watt per kilo range, which is only from 2.5 up to 2.85 in this race. If any of them got it wrong, I'll soon find out about it after the race. Put them back in their place when the hammer comes out. But looks like they're getting ready. No one's pressing on too hard at this stage, just benefiting from the descent, getting ready to press on as they come through the village. So looks like we're making. It looks like quite a few ART up at the front there. I can see the red band. Looks like someone's starting to get in position. And BJ Alfonso there, who's the team captain of PTZ for the series. Wonder if we can see something from him, and quite a few Vikings riders in there as well. Not sure who is that the Rhinos in the blue and grey? Here we go. Looks like BJ and Lastman's gone for it.
Got a long way out.
There we go. Oh, who's that? From Brunrig pressing on.
Good man.
Is he going to hold it? It looks like he's going to get it. Oh, he's off early there, and then Vikings and another ART rider coming in. Looks like you guys probably had a good 3 or 4 riders up there on that one, so that was pretty good effort. And
coming your way.
have you got prizes for the series if anyone wins a sprint?
Well, that would be wrong of me to start talking about that right now. But I'm sure that Steve will be dishing out prizes to those that bring us glory.
Good shot. Good shot.
Not you, Harpham.
So just try and make sure we stay on track of the races. It looks like the CCAT race is definitely the most split up at this stage, with and a few riders are pressing on a bit here. Is that someone's gone off the front at the pressed on up the climb? Yeah, it definitely looks like the C race is the one that people are most pressing to try and break it up and get things a bit more racy early on, where the other races seem a bit closer together. So if we just do a quick scan through, it looks like the BCAT race is formed into 2 groups at this stage. So you can just see in the map, there's I don't know if you'll see it in the wide angle. You can see there's just a bit of a split there. I think that might come back together. Seems like there has been a decent bit of a selection in there as well. Not too many riders. There's probably only about 80 riders still there in that group out of the 160 or so that started the race. And a couple of riders pressing on at the front. I wonder if he got confused where the sprint was. It happens. And if we jump to the Cat A race, seems pretty tight bunch still, big bunch at the front as well. And in the women's race, they're just getting close to coming through to the sprint section now. Yeah, and as I said, we've had a pretty tight selection at the front of this one. We've got about, I think, only 10 riders in the front group. ART very well represented. So I think it might be, when I look forward to doing the scores, it might be a very, very, very strong scoring towards ART again tonight. So everyone will have to work hard to catch you guys back after this. Let's see if the Engelstrom can put you under pressure in the sprint, or the not sure what the rider's name is from PTZ. But here we are coming into the sprint section. Let's see who's going to go for it. Looks like there's a good little lead-out train there for ART, but looks like the Engelstrom's not going to take this line down. Are we going to get someone's pressing it to press on? 6-7 watts per kilo. Looks like she's going to get. So who's that? Burke? Is that Burke or? I'll leave you if you know the names, Chris. O'Rourke. There we go. Took that sprint.
Yeah. No, that's Linny who took that one. Well done. And then we had, I think, Sarah the Cake Monster. Lovely name.
So if we jump back to the ACATs, then we can see the pressing on here doing a pretty hot almost 50 kilometers an hour as we go through the bottom, and another few teams that we haven't mentioned yet. DZR, great to see them in the race. AHDR as well, the Aussie Hump Day ride team, also been big supporters of the series for us in the past, so great to see them again. And yeah, for a lot of their riders, I think this is a very early morning race rather than a late evening race. So thanks for your support and for putting the effort into to get up early in the morning. But if we jump out, it's still a pretty big bunch. Been a bit of a selection going on, but it's not, still quite a big bunch. Plenty of teams represented. A few TFC riders, Vikings riders. Seems like Vikings are going to take it to the front for a bit. It looked like they were almost forming up there the way they pressed on. And we've got a few race 3-hour riders in here as well tonight, so great to see the attendance. I wonder if they're going to press. That's a good little group going here. And Richard Hawker from TFC, recent joiners to the team. Great to see him up at the front tonight. But yeah, it won't be too long until the ACATs are making their way back around for their second sprint of the evening. So yeah,
making me tired just watching.
Yeah, I've had dreams and aspirations of making it into the ACAT, but it's just never really been feasible. Not with my discipline. So definitely looks, if we take a look at the bunch, it definitely looks like there's a more limited TFC attendance tonight. I think we've still got maybe 5 or 6 riders in there. I'll leave you to try and count the ART jerseys, but it definitely seems like SZ, Vikings, and SZ and Vikings definitely seem to be the ones I've seen the most kits of. And is that DZR? Trying to make out who's the red kit. I think that's DZR, Danish Swift team. But yeah, no, it's maybe someday I'll get up there. I'm not holding out too much hope in the short term. So what got you into Zwift, Chris?
So I've been Zwifting for many years, just to supplement the outdoor training. But more recently, through injury, I've been solely on Zwift. So it's fantastic. Love it, absolutely love it. And it's the racing element that does it for me. So quite sad not to be joining in tonight, but I'll be back. I will be back soon.
Sounds good. I need to get back more frequently myself. I used to be competitive in the front end of the BCAT, and that was before my own ill discipline took hold. And I took a slightly lazy December to February, but it won't take long to get back once I get out in the garage. So it looks like we've got a good few cryogen riders up here as well tonight. So big bunch. And yeah, getting ready for their second sprint of the evening. They'll just be coming around a couple of bends over the little bump, and then they'll be heading down into the into the village again to get ready for the sprint. And if we jump into the BCAT, you can see that there's been still a very big bunch at the front of this one. You can see from the overhead there's still I'd say at least a good 80 riders up there. All pressing hard, and these are riders that have an FTP of anywhere between 3.2 and 3.6, and really hope they're appreciating the race tonight, where normally they would be, potentially getting dropped in a race with all the front of the BCATs doing 3.8, 3.9 watts per kilo. So great opportunity for riders that, to have a different type of race. At least that's what we're hoping anyway. See how they feel after the race. They may just be cursing me anyway for the pain that it caused. So
when you've got a group that size, it really does become quite technical as to trying not to be at the front, yet trying not to get dropped if a split occurs, making sure we've got the legs for the sprints.
Yeah, I'll definitely pride myself on one thing when it came to Zwifting. I was generally quite good at being efficient, and staying in the draft without sticking my nose in the wind. So the ACATs are definitely starting to get ready. As they come around this corner, they'll be heading into the village, getting ready for the next sprint section for them. And let's see if anyone goes long. It's always tough on a course like this, especially for a sprint that's as flat as it is, to go too early. So very hard to get to the front of the A race. So many riders. So is Hoodless one of your main ACAT riders? Oh, looks like someone's going long tonight. There's Darnell is going early for SE. I wonder if he can hold it. Looks like he's got a good 10 meters. It's a long way to go from there, though. It's a good 360 meter sprint. Looks like Parker's chasing him down.
Yeah, Scarlett Parker chasing him down.
Let's see if they can catch.
Silver-tongued Scarlett.
I think he's going to hold it. It's going to be close.
Good effort if he does.
He's held it. And I think it was Heinz Leitners from the Swalloon team who, I'll figure out how to pronounce that at some stage tonight. It's the cider, I'll blame the cider. But he actually has just moved up to the ACAT, always been a great sprinter, and he did incredibly well in the BCAT series last year. So if he hadn't chosen to race up in the ACAT, I might have been having words. But good to see him still doing well, always been a very strong sprinter. And seeing that again tonight. So won't be too long. This is a good thing about the sprints. It doesn't take too long until there's a bit more action in another race as well. And so the ACAT racers are just getting ready to come around for their second sprint. And all the sprint points that we're doing in the series are first over the line. So I didn't want too much messing about in terms of having to judge who was fastest. I know there's benefits to that, but when we're making smaller categories, it made more sense to me to just do first over the line and get in position and make sure you hold it. Definitely been a bit of attrition on the field now. You can see a few more riders hanging off the back in the field here. And just before we come to that, I'm just noticing in the CCAT race actually there's been quite a big selection here. It looks like we've narrowed the field down to about 30 or 40 riders. Looks like someone's managed to get dropped there. So definitely been a pretty attritional race in the CCAT tonight. Quite a lot of the Rhino team must have pressed on to do that. But we'll come back to them in a second. They won't be too far off their sprint. But the BCAT riders just getting ready to come through, coming down the hill, getting ready to turn through the village. And let's see if anyone goes long again. Worked the last time.
All managed to stay nicely together up the slight climb.
Looks like Vikings are going long tonight. Yeah, don't go there. So looks like he's not being given any. Wow, 140 cadence. I'm going to assume that was a glitch. So here comes Spivak. Always been a very, very strong sprinter in Spivak from Cryogen. I've seen him a few times in the past. Always, wow, going along 10 watts per kilo. I think he's going to have that one fairly comfortably for the second lap. Yeah. And then so he's taking first in Sinclair, Parsons. Yeah, so I think Parsons and then Rhino team looks like Cryogen, Vikings, and VCRT taking the top spots in that one. But as I mentioned, we've definitely had a big selection in the CCAT race now. So if we jump over to it, looks like we're down to a lot of Rhino riders. And a shout out as well to Zwift Scotland actually while we're here. Just as I see the name, always also been very big supporters of the series. Good to see them back again tonight. Challenging the CCAT, we do have a lot of some riders here who are fairly high watts per kilo, but not quite so high in terms of FTP, which ends up keeping them in some of the lower cats. But quite a lot of youth riders in the SDW team. Good to see them in attendance tonight, and great to see the youth in the sport getting involved in Swift as well. Looks like the Hyvie's one of still two ART riders in here, couple of BRT, one TFC. Go on, Michael. Looks like it's all on you for TFC from here. I wonder if it'll close up together, but that's been a massive fracturing. You can see on the map how much that field is split up tonight. And do feel free to give us a shout in the comments. I can't see them for those that have tuned in. So just getting ready in the CCAT, coming over the hill into the descent. Who do you think will take this one, Scott? Chris? Scott?
I'm going to put, go for it. I answer to anything. I'm going to go with the Rhinos. They seem to be pretty much bullying this category.
Yeah, I guess that goes with the name as well.
Yeah.
Seems like everyone's getting a bit of a breather on the descent, getting ready to press on. Fairly tight bunch. I think we've still got about 20 riders up here, trying to press for the front. I do feel like this is definitely a sprint that, from what we've seen so far, if you manage to get a little bit of a gap when you go early, you've got a reasonable chance of holding it.
It does seem that way.
So, is Hyvie a decent sprinter for you?
He's bound to be. Legs like tree trunks, that man. Rumour has it he was actually offered a pro contract, but turned it down to race with Art.
I'm sure you've had quite a few of those, of course.
Lots.
Right,
I was going to be commentating on Sky Sports tonight, but I said no.
I'm glad we gave you a better offer. It seems like the sprint's starting to heat up here. A few riders starting to press on for it. There goes Alfonso and Moody from the Rhino team. It seems like Alfonso's just edging it at this stage. So I'm going to say Alfonso, then Everson, then Cleghorn, then Moody, I think, with the top four on that one. And Hyvie probably came in fifth. So pretty intense stuff out there. It's making me want to go out and get back on my bike, just not be in a race.
Well, I've got my beer next to me, and I'm pretty happy where I am right now.
Good shot. So it's not too far. Ladies are just starting to come around into the getting ready for the sprint section, and that front group that split off has now got 1 minute and 15 seconds. So it looks like this group's going to take almost all the sprint points. I think we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 riders up here. So it looks like they'll take all the sprint points, and then it'll be maybe 1 point left for the rider behind.
It's interesting when you've got quite a few riders from one team and then just a smattering of other teams. If I were the other teams, I wouldn't be doing any work at all on the front. I'd be leaving it all to Art and just saying, you just pull us along.
Same here. Let's see how efficient they all are. So,
and clearly that would be horribly unfair, and I would I'd probably make a complaint afterwards. But
like I say, I always try to be a very efficient rider. If I don't have to be on the front, I won't be on the front. But as a few riders who I raced with in the Tour of Spartacus, once I get dropped, I'm quite happy to organise a chase group, and I will do my part. But I won't do it for no reason. So it looks like we've still got some pretty decent sized bunches on the ACAT. I'm going to say we've still got a good, looks like probably 60 or 70, wow, maybe even 80 riders still tied together up at the front. I guess the part of the big thing here is as you move up through the cats, and the difference between 4 watts per kilo and 4.4 watts per kilo isn't quite so much when there's such a strong draft, so it is easier to hang in there and stay together. I'm sure the riders will kill me for saying that, but that's my personal view. Whereas when you start moving down through the B's and the C's, it may be a smaller watt per kilo difference, but it takes quite a much bigger effort to stay in the draft. Draft effect isn't quite so strong when you're going at slightly slower speeds as well. So the tactics definitely come into play a bit more. But it looks like we've, as I say, still got quite a few food ray riders up there. It looks like they're starting to make a bit of a press for the front, maybe get in position for the sprint as they come around to it. Women are just starting to get ready for their next sprint. See if anyone can topple ART as they come around to it this time. Give them a minute or so. They'll be there. Doesn't take too long from here. What's been your biggest claim to fame in Zwift racing so far?
Me was it was winning an ACAT race.
You won an ACAT?
I did win an ACAT race. Yeah, that was a while back. That was a while back. That was before A+ existed as well. So I'll throw that one in there as well. I won't say how many people were in the race, but I still won it.
I have been tempted to go and try and score an ACAT race with like 3 people in it just for the trophy cabinet, or at least get a podium. Like getting up at 2 a.m. in the morning to go and do one of the less well attended races hasn't quite interested me yet. So my one claim to fame was when we did the Tour of Spartacus last year, the 3-day stage race. I took part in that, and the Saturday was a points race, and I managed to get no points during the rest of the sprints, but I really thought I'd nail the finish and tried to get in position for the final sprint to the line, and I managed to win the race, was first over the line, and then promptly realised after the race that there were no points on offer for the first person over the line. It was still the fastest sprint even on the last lap, so that was very disappointing. But I won a BCAT race as of last October, November, and after that my fitness saw a slightly rapid tail off. But we've got the women starting to come through, getting ready for their sprint. Have to jump to the ACATs after. They're not too far off it as well. But let's see if anyone can kind of manage to get the jump on ART this time.
No, didn't stick.
I think she realised she'd gone too early that time, or it was just unintentional roll through to the front. So let's see if anyone can manage to get the jump. Looks like we've got nice formation of ART. So 2 PTZ riders, they could maybe work together and get themselves in position, but if you're going to go, it's time to go. So Bayliss has gone early. Ingstrom's jumped ahead. Can she hold it? O'Rourke's starting to press again.
She lead out. I think she's going to do it.
I think Ingstrom's got this one. Then Bayliss, then O'Rourke. Have you got a intra-team competition going on as well within ART, given how strong the attendance is?
Yeah, we have. Yeah, we are running the Art Cup in parallel to this, so there is absolutely even more incentive to try and do well.
Yeah, so we've got the ACATs now coming round. I think the field seems to have thinned out a little bit. I'd say we've still got about 60 riders up here at least. Let's see if anyone decides to go long again for the sprint this time. If I can get to the front. I would love some slightly more broadcast tools from Zwift. There we go.
Right, if you're trying to find a rider at the front, do not choose Harpham because he didn't even bother to enter.
There we go. Seems like there's as said rider pressing on the front early. Here we go. It's already warming up. Not even at the start of the sprint section and they're going. Looks like he's towing Darnell with him. Vikings closing the gap. Heinz is not being left behind. He's going for it again. Let's see if he can make his way through. Ooh, that's quite a big bunch going for it this time. Is anyone going to catch Darnell? Oh no!
Hoodless up there.
Come on, Zwift.
I saw the orange headband of Hoodless.
Sorry guys, my connection decided to disappear for a second. Not quite sure who got that one. It looked pretty close on there was another Zwaloon rider who was up there. I wonder if we'll get a split this time. That's quite a big bunch up front. I wonder if we get anyone pressing on. It looks like it's closing up reasonably quickly. Is that team going to press on? No, he's not. He's not pulling any watts anymore. I thought we were going to have a couple of riders who might try and break it apart as they came through, but not this time.
I think maybe leave it another lap before we see that.
Yeah, I think you could be right. Yeah, my internet connection seems to be struggling, so sorry about that. There we go. I think it's come back. Too many Zwift connections plus my upload stream. Somebody needs to give me proper fiber. I've been begging for it. So if we jump over to the BCAT race, still a decent sized bunch here. You can see quite a big group in behind, and as I say, someone like Spivak, who's was a very good sprinter in C, racing in B this time, still showing his muster in the lower BCAT series as well. And yeah, some of these riders, as I say, this is where I should be racing if I was racing. But let's see if anyone goes long this time in the BCAT race. And we've got just to give a shout out, we've got a few real life race teams that have joined us as well. VCRT is one of the UK race teams, real life race team. Good to see you in the race tonight. So thanks for joining us. I think it's one of the things that's been great on the back of the WTRL efforts with the Zwift Racing League is to really see so many of the smaller teams getting involved in Zwift. It's obviously not just about the big teams like TFC and ART. It's great to have so many smaller and real life teams getting involved as well. But let's see if anyone presses on for a long effort this time. Doesn't seem to be breaking up too much yet. There's Alex Gifford of TFC. See if he can get a few points this time as well. He used to do a lot of our TTT admin within the team, and then set up his own bike mechanics store in the last 12 months. So yeah, good to see him back on the bike as well, rather than just fixing everyone else's bike. And let's see if he can come through. Looks like we've got someone from Foudre pressing on the front, trying to break away. Looks like he's got a little bit of a gap. If I can get up there, I'll tell you who it is. There we go.
I'm still rooting for Jace Biles on this one. Still rooting for him. He deserves a win.
So it looks like we've got Sinclair's pressing now. It's a decent bunch going for it. Who's got the watts? There we go. Spivak's pressing on again. He looks unbeatable in these sprints.
He is looking good, isn't he?
Great positioning, and then nailed it, followed by Parsons. Looks like Alex might have got third or fourth. Good job, Alex. Well done. Check the results afterwards. And then if we look to just realizing when we jump into the CCAT race, we've had a very big split here now as well. So it looks like this front group of heavy attendance from Rhinos. I think that's what, 7 riders from the Rhino team. One from TFC, one guy from SDW. It's been pretty well smashed apart, that race. Looks like there's a big group, second group on the road about 30 seconds down. another little group about 10 seconds back. And then, is that the big group? Yeah, the C race has really opened up tonight. So front group here, we've got Michael Kirsten from TFC pressing on. So I see two ART,
Yeah,
Fix Rhinos.
heavy in there, I can see.
I'll let you call the next sprint, Chris. I need to drink more of my cider.
No, you go for it. I'm half cut. It's all good. I think
it's going to be hard to beat the Rhinos on this one, that's for sure.
Yeah, you just want to... Tactics for the sprint really need to be you just sit at the back, about 10th wheel back as you're approaching the line, and then you just use other people's draft and suck wheel the whole way through and just take glory at the end.
Yeah, I did it once I did it once in a real life race. I was in a Cab 4 race, coming through to the final lap, and normally if I'm not in, I managed to get just about in position, about 10th wheel coming around the final corner. It was a big bank corner then coming into a start finish straight, and I thought, you know what, I'll just go for it tonight. And I just found the perfect wheel. There was one rider who had been a little bit pushy through the field, and you know when you spend a lot of time in real life racing, you spend as much time watching the riders around you as anything else. And the rider I was racing against, he, as I say, he'd been a bit pushy, and you kind of knew this guy knows where to put his bike and make sure no one comes past him. So I was like, well, if that's who he is, I'm going to take that wheel. Jumped on his wheel coming into the final bend, followed it the whole way up the final straight, jumped him with got about 2 inches ahead of his wheel on the line, and managed to win. My only claim to fame was winning a Cat 4 race. Probably then moved up to Cat 3 and then haven't been able to race again because that was end of 2019 and there was no racing last year. But it was I did feel a bit bad afterwards because we got chatting on the way around. Neither of us knew at the end of the race who'd actually won, but we were coming around the last lap and he started, he thought he'd won. We got back to the race control. They brought out the results, and I'd managed to sneak it on the line. And then he told me it was his birthday. He thought he'd won on his birthday, and then I'd actually stolen it on the line.
Cruel man.
I felt
cruel man.
I'd say I felt horrible, but racing's racing. There's no guilty. I didn't feel guilty at all. I felt bad for him. Didn't feel guilty. So let's see who's going to manage to. A lot of people are working. If I was in this bunch, I'd be doing my best to let the Rhinos do all the work, given the numbers they have. But got to get in position for the sprint. So anyone you think could go long from ART in this one?
Personally, I wouldn't. As you said, I would let the Rhinos do all the work. I would just try and shelter as much as possible. Try and get a decent place in the sprint, and then just hold out for overall glory.
Sounds like a good plan. I've lost track. We're in the third lap now, aren't we?
Fourth.
Are we already on the fourth lap? This is the third lap for the CCAS, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So they're coming through for their last. Oh, don't miss it. There we go. I think you could say the Rhinos just destroyed that one.
Yeah.
So we have one more sprint left for the DCAT race, and after that it's all just on the line. So we've still got some. Just to quickly jump on the sprint. So just seen someone's telling everyone else in the ACAT race there's no sprint. Someone clearly doesn't want to get dropped, Andy Raw, making sure no one presses on and makes it too hard through the sprint section. Good tactics.
The time to do it.
Well, that's true. It's a good section of the course to attack if you think you can press on from there to the finish.
Yeah, because you've got the uphill around the corner. So
yeah, exactly.
When everyone else thinks there's no sprint,
get your team in position. Yeah. Have them think you've got a bit confused and messed up, and then just press on for the line. It's always tough to break away on Zwift. The draft's just that strong, but I think you'd have a chance if you really tried hard enough.
Right, if you'll just excuse me whilst I drop off the stream and then jump onto the ACAT Race Radio and just pass on that valuable piece of information. We'll see what we can do.
None of that now, Chris. I think I should have made you a little bit louder. Someone was saying you're a bit quiet.
Probably for the best. Probably for the best.
I've added a few decibels to your voice.
Oh, that's kind. But I would imagine again that was probably Doug Curtis asking for my voice to be a bit louder. He's probably missing me.
Do you normally do DS for the ACAT race?
Yeah, that's what I've been resorting to over the past few weeks. Have a lot of fun with the team time trials. We've got a really good group for the team Photons, the Art Photons, who are the espresso riders.
I've been battling away in the latte team, continually getting baffled by, particularly Kirschmere, how they manage to just destroy the times every week. And you get off the bike and you think you've just absolutely smashed it, and there's no way anyone could be quicker than that. And then you look at the results and you're like, a minute, 50 seconds down in second place, and it's like, God.
Did you see the World Rowing Championship team that they entered? I think it was about a week or so ago in Espresso. They absolutely destroyed the field. I was sad enough to Google some of them afterwards, and they are just all massive people with thighs like my waist.
Probably my waist and yours combined.
It was quite depressing. It was a flat course. Love to see them in the hills.
Yeah.
Love to see them in the hills.
Yeah, me too. I guess you could say the ultimate leveler is a proper climb. So, no, I'd love to try sometime and do a real life sort of crit race for Zwift racers that are based in, somewhere, I guess the UK, because there's quite a bit of a critical mass of us. But it'd be great to see how the teams would do if we actually compete on a properly level playing field, no messing about. See where dangerous. Yeah, that is true. So, ACAT riders, not too long to go. About 3k left, and then they'll be at the finish, coming through to the sprint section shortly for their. Obviously, at this time, there's no points on offer. But it'd be interesting to see if anyone manages to or decides to press on anyway and put the field under a bit of pressure. The BCAT race, we've still got a pretty decent sized group together. I'm going to call that probably 60 riders, from what I can see. Hard to tell. But still a pretty big bunch there that'll make it interesting as we come into the finish. In the CCAT race, we've still got that more selective group up front. Doesn't look like anyone's been dropped off, but good sort of 10, 12 riders battling it out 15 riders battling it out to see who can win this one. And then in the women's race,
the ladies doing nicely as well.
Yeah, you've still got a nice tight bunch in there. They're just coming around to this little climb and get ready for their final sprint points. Apparently it's Haribo time. I could do with some Haribo. All I've got is mini eggs. I don't think it's good enough. So, but the wife likes chocolate, so I have to do what I'm told. So I think we might be.
Know a happy wife is a happy life.
I learned that many years ago. So 10 years married.
I better just
11 and a half
take
years
this very
married.
quick opportunity. Better quickly take this opportunity to say well done to my wife who was racing in the ladies' cat seat tonight. By the amount of noise coming out of the room, you sound like you're winning. So go for it.
Is that shouting and screaming at the other team riders, or screaming at the
could be anything.
at her legs?
Could be anything. Could be anything.
I think we might get caught out a little bit here. It looks like the A-Cat riders might be finishing about the same time as the D-Cat riders reach their sprint. So we'll try and capture both, but yeah, apologies if we miss anything. We're doing our best with limited replay facilities because I didn't get time to set that part up. I had a few technical issues in the 20 minutes before. If you'd heard my conversation with Chris as I was screaming at stuff having to be restarted, a little bit annoying. Yeah, I think they're going to pretty much both finish at the same time.
The A-Cat, we got one of our riders, Scarlett Parker, who is he has this wonderful knack of just, I won't say coasting because that would be the wrong word, but coasting through the field and then just popping up and placing highly at the end. So he's definitely one to watch out for Team ART.
Oh, uh-oh.
Oof. Hang on, I spoke too soon. What's happened to him? He's been dropped.
Did I just select him and he's been dropped?
Looks that way. So Scarlett, you've done yourself proud, mate. Thank you for that.
I think you could say he's definitely let you down tonight.
Yeah.
So
sacked.
Here we go. Oh, this is so annoying. They're going to end up being both.
It's all on you, my friend. It's all on you.
So here we go. Here's the A-Cat riders coming into the finish. See if we can catch this from the front. So who's going to take it out? Is anyone going to go long? Looks like Jeffries from SDW is going long. 7 watts per kilo. Well, that's a lovely wheel to follow. Here comes the Vikings. There's a few big fast wheels coming.
Come on, Mike Hoodless.
Who's going to get it?
Not Scarlett.
I'm going to say that Zwaluan, followed by SE, followed by Cryogen, took that one.
Great racing.
Big finish. So you can all jump onto Zwift Power to get the results, and perfectly the women are just coming around for their final sprint. Let's see who can catch this one. So looks like Engstrom's going forward.
Long. Yeah. Oh no, she's going to be nipped to the line.
Just picked by Cake Monster. That's a great name.
Well, I'm the Cake Monster.
I'd love to see that on a birth certificate. So we've got a little bit of time when it might be a little bit more chilled. So the B-Cat race is still got another 2.5k to go. Then they'll be coming in for their finish. Still a very big bunch. That's going to be fun to try and sprint from. And given there's 60, probably 60 riders up here still, that's going to be all of the kind of higher points paying positions up for grabs up here. Looks like the Vikings are pressing a little bit. Somebody thinks there's a sprint on offer. Don't tell them. Somebody tell them. Oh, they're both going for it. 2 Vikings going for it. Should I tell them? I can tell them.
Yeah, do it.
Oh dear. That's just rude. There we go. Not sure they'll see
really
that.
happy with himself.
I'm sure. Oh, my chats don't come up, it seems, because I'm not moving. Oh well. So I did wonder if we get a bit of a breakaway. It'd be a perfect time to put the pressure on now after a few riders have pressed on up this little climb to get in position for the finish. And there we go. It looks like a few riders are going to make it tough. So I think that was Steve Stoll I saw from TFC. Maybe not. Steve tows me around in the TTT each week. There we go, that's Steve. Steve tows me around in the TTT and the latte class for TFC each week. He's officially a Cat C rider, but he's been encouraged to race up. So we're not just doing that to other teams, we do it to our own as well. But I think he's got a pretty good finish on him, and as I say, he's a force to be reckoned with when it comes to watts. So I think this will be starting to split up a little bit. Definitely putting the pressure on in this one.
It's a horrible section as well. This run into the line.
There's just no point pressing too hard. It feels horrible, but when you get used to it, I always find that apart from the really long drags, normally there's quite a bit of an accordion effect that it does come back together if you don't press too hard. Just kind of stay in the right place. So let's see if anyone can start to split it up a little bit as we come over this drag. I think it's 2 drags left, and then it's the run into the finish. All about getting in position, really. So here we go. Not long to go. They're coming round to the final corner. Wow, that's a nice little ART train up there. 3 riders right at the front. Hope it's not too early. Vikings making their presence known. Steve looks like he's trying to stay right in position. Go on, Steve.
Just try and coast down the hill.
You just got to get a wheel to follow. You need to be careful someone doesn't jump you here. It's very easy to make a bit of a jump, go a bit early, and actually get a bit of air between you and the next rider. Oh, don't do this to me. No, come back. There we go.
There we go.
How dare you, Zwift? I'm clearly stressing.
Gotta get I think he's actually gone. He might have actually just gone.
I think the kids.
Sinclair?
I think the kids have like turned something on downstairs. All right, just in time. Spivak's got it again. Go on, Alex. Go on, Alex. Oh, that was close. I'm gonna call Team Italy, then TFC, then Cryogen. I think had that one. I don't know if you saw differently.
No, that looked good to me. Well, didn't look good because there's no art riders up there. Try harder next time, please. Great racing, everyone. Absolutely great racing. Pleasure to watch.
Jumping back to the CCAR race, it looks like Michael's been dropped, sadly. And it's an even more select group up here. So it's the Rhinos, PTZ and ART, and one solo BRT rider really trying to press on. So I think it's going to be very hard for anyone to keep the Rhinos honest in this one. I'm going to have to make sure that next week my kids don't turn some video on at inopportune times.
Just ban Call of Duty from your household.
Oh, my kids are 5 and 7.
In which case, definitely ban Call of Duty from your household.
There's no Call of Duty that happens. In fairness, they should be in bed by now. I might have to tell the wife off instead. That's not going to go down well. So we've got 2 races left to roll in. Take a 3K left in the men's race. My one lap left on the women's race. My ability to convert from miles to kilometers is lacking right now. Cider's always stronger than I realise. Really shouldn't dwell on Michael. He'll not thank me for it afterwards.
The only way I've been managing to keep count of the laps is having enough bottles of beer, so it's 1 per lap, and just count the empties.
I hope you didn't lose track of the whiskey bottle you finished last night.
I can't even remember that.
That shows how quickly it went down. So did you do any real life racing, Chris?
I haven't done for a long time. I used to race when I was in the armed forces, but not since I left, and that was a number of years ago. More just a social rider, Not very good one either.
You wouldn't get back into it if racing returns this year?
No, I wouldn't. No, I like beer too much.
Right, fair enough. I must admit, personally, I only started outdoor racing in 2019. I had 1 season of it, and then obviously 2020 never really happened. So I'm quite looking forward to representing TFC in real life racing this year, if we get back to it in the summer. So looks like the Sea-Cat's been fairly disciplined and realised that there weren't any sprint points on offer. So well done. Paid attention to the rules, listened to what we said. And I guess the next point up here is coming up to the S's section of the course, so it is quite easy to get dropped if you're not careful around here. Not pressing too crazy hard on the front. Looks like the Rhinos are getting in position though, getting ready to try and make it quite hard.
David Hivy and Darren Buick carrying the torch for ART, it looks like.
Has Becky finished yet? Has she held the candle for TFC yet? Well, looks like we're getting a bit of separation. Viking's going to try and close that gap down. That was a good effort by the Rhinos, getting 3 riders up the road. Looks like Everson's going to make them undo all that hard work. Bringing, he's not. I thought he was bringing the whole group back together, but there's still quite a bit of separation there.
This one might stick.
Yeah, it looks like we're now down to a bunch of 6 at the front. See if Cleghorn can close the gap for BRT.
Well done, David, staying up there for Art.
I'll be impressed if someone can manage to get around the Rhinos. Quite a few of their riders tend to be pretty good at the sprint finish. I've seen quite a few results races from last series where it was just Rhinos in the top 5. So
I do believe a group of Rhinos is called a crash. I know it can't happen in Zwift, but hopefully one of your computers crashes and... I don't mean that.
I beg to differ. I think there's been plenty of crashes on Zwift when the game throws you out to some other place in the world. So we do our best. But thankfully my computer's only crashed before we went live instead of after. So I'm going to take that as a small mercy tonight. So, there we go. I'm surprised that bunch has all come back together. That's been a big effort. I wonder if they've anything left for the sprint. It has meant we now have 6 Rhinos at the front of the race. That's got to be a good wheel to follow if you've got Rhino in your team name. Got to leave a big draft behind you.
Who is the strongest Rhino?
I think you're going to have to start pushing now. Everson, I think you need to press on a little bit, make sure you don't let any gap open up. Looks like Homer's starting to put the watts out for Rhinos.
David Hivy is pretty well placed. If he can just sneak through Darren as well. Although your hair might cause a bit of drag there, my friend.
I would love to know if Zwift actually has any sort of hair type equations involved in the drag coefficient. That sprint started early tonight. Oh no, don't do that! No!
What's going on? What have you done?
I lost it!
You've killed us!
No!
You've killed us!
We've killed the stream!
I'm pretty sure that that was a 1-2 from ART.
Oh man. Sorry guys. Ill-timed click without look. Oh well. I'm very sorry to any Sea-Cat racers. That was fully my fault.
Carry on killing me.
You will have to go and check Swift Power to get the results of that race. And at the end of the day, all the points aren't available on the line. There was plenty on the sprints on the way through as well. So, got to make it count while you can. So,
right. So let's get over to the ladies and see what's going on.
Yeah, I shall not make the same mistake twice. He says famous last words. So it looks like we've had a big selection here. Engstrom's gone out and had one rider, O'Rourke, go with her, but they've got 30 seconds almost on the rest of that bunch that were together at the start. So that's a big effort to pull out that much time over the probably been about 6 or 7K since we last checked in. So. Looks like this will go to the finish, but that's a very big selection. Splitting up the race quite a bit. So Do you think O'Rourke will have what it takes?
Well, the big question is what is she singing to herself right now? Linny loves a good sing-song as she rides along. She is famous for it. So I think maybe less singing, more pedaling, and you've got this, Linny. I'm going to back you.
I think you'll need to convince her to get on the live stream next week, singing to us as she's whipped. I think that would really add to the effect. So, but there we go. Couple of miles to roll in, and then we'll be coming up to the finish, and I'll be getting started processing the results from a ever so slightly ridiculous number of riders tonight. Very pleased with the success, but it's been give me about 3 days to get it all calculated.
Have you got any idea of how many riders we had total tonight?
Yeah, I'm just pulling up the results actually to see what's come through. When I calculated it before the race, we were up to about 700 riders, I think, which is incredible. Like normally we have about 250 across the series, so really chuffed. And as I said earlier, thank you to all of you for your support. Hugely appreciated from us, and look forward to providing a great race series for you as the series progresses. So yeah, I think we've had the one area I'd love to see more attendance though is definitely in the women's race. There's not too many dedicated women's races out there, and we're doing our best to try and provide that for you. So hopefully it's can continue to build on that. But I've just pulled up the results, and I've got the sprint result for the low end, the CCAR race that we were tracking, and you'll be pleased to hear, Chris, that Darren actually managed to get the sprint on the line on the provisional results.
I had faith.
So it was Darren Bewick, then Sean Carr from the Rhino team, and Roy Everson from Racket Oscar. So actually pretty impressive. The couple of riders managed to get up there, given how strong that Rhino squad looked up there. So well done, and lots of points on offer. In the BCAT race that we couldn't quite tell from our camera angle, but it looks like it was actually Alex that managed to sneak things on the line, came through to take the overall win in that race. So well done, Alex. Followed by Enrico Quadrelli from Team Italy, and then Vermund Grinscar from Vikings, and Aaron Spivak from Cryogen. So yeah, good result there as well, and good spread across the teams. I think one of the things I was afraid of a little bit when we saw how well attended some of the races were, that it would become a bit biased, but riders from all sorts of teams really showing up at the front there. And then in the ACAT race that we were watching, up at the front we had Witten Anthonze from Swalloon, Alexander Danel from SE, and then Sam Grinhala from Cryogen, and Christian Moxon from BRT. As I say, there's lots still to do on the points whenever we add in the sprint points as well, but so keep an eye on Zwift Power as we get those full results calculated for you. They should be up this evening, at least provisionally, and then we'll finalise things once all the data comes through and the numbers are there. So not too long to go. As you can see, there's just coming through to Italy, then we'll be into the S's section, ready to finish up on the women's race. So so you're putting your money on O'Rourke to come through?
100%. She will. She'll nail it. She'll nail it. And well, if she doesn't, then quite frankly, don't turn up next week. Simple as that. Pretty ruthless we are.
That's a bit harsh. I thought you were quite a supportive team. You want all your riders to progress and do well, and get better week in, week out. So
no, of course we are. No, it's I have when my wife had been racing in these previously, I have seen Engstrom race, and she's a strong rider. So I think she will be a tough cyclist to beat. But if anyone can, Linny can.
I must admit, for the pair of them to have put 40 seconds in on that group behind, looked like they were working quite well together. It's quite impressive, and good tactics by Engstrom, we didn't see who caused it, but I've got to assume that she basically decided she wasn't happy given how big that bunch was, and it was time to put the pedal down and press on and try and get a bit of a gap rather than competing in a bunch of 7 or 8 riders from the same team for a sprint. So good effort there, and should pay off either way, first or second, and let's see who manages to get it on the line.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty even between these two points wise when it's all said and done. So certainly setting us up for a very good week of racing next week. Let the battle carry on.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll just throw in a quick. I'll pull the results up on screen in a second. There we go. Let's just do 2.6. Window capture. Wasn't prepared to do this ahead of time, but there we go. So if we pull the results up on screen. So there we go. And I'll throw you them as well.
I would just watch out on this climb up here, because when you've only got 2 riders, if you can put some time in on the only hill, if you don't fancy a chance in the sprint, this will be the place to do it.
That is a very good point. Let's see if the looks like O'Rourke's basically just falling. Oh, you're right. Engstrom's trying to do it. She's trying to break the toe. Little bit of a. There's 1 second in it.
There's a bit of distance there. There is a bit of distance.
That's a good call.
Push over the top of the hill, and you've got it.
See if O'Rourke can come back. That's 2 seconds. O'Rourke's trying to close the gap.
Come on, Libby. We need a power ballast from you here.
This is the bit when everyone will be cursing me for not enabling power-ups, that she can just get a little space bar to close the gap time. But well done to Liz. She's got right back on the wheel there.
Okay, good stuff. Well done.
So while they roll
How
into
much did that take out of her?
That is very true. So as they roll around towards the finish, we'll just quickly pull up the results and have a look and see how everyone did and how the team scored. So hopefully you can all see that now. And in the very front ACAT race, it looks like Fusion, etc., and then Wes, and then SZ took the top positions. Quite a few different teams up there, but definitely good effort from Fusion and Wes to take the front. And VCRT, as I said, smaller race team, coming up as well with 2 strong top 10 positions into the top 10 for SZ. So that's going to be good points for SZ. They did very well in the ACAT series the last time. In the Mad Mondays. In the BCAT series, good effort from SZ and Vikings, 2 riders up there, and Pete Brooks for ART. So good performance, and a couple of TFC riders in 11th and 12th. So well done, Sam and Lewis. Lewis has been an incredibly strong, improving rider for TFC. I don't think it'll be too long before he's pressing on the borders of an ACAT rider as well. But pretty strong performance there, and good range and team showing up as well. So I think it'll be quite close in the overall team competition. Then if we jump down to the C, this is the C+ category. Rhino showing up very strongly again, 3 in the top 6, 3 TFC riders in the top 10, and a few ART riders in the top 30. So good, big range of riders. Normally for TFC, the CCAT's one of our strongest, and where we perform the best. But it looks like we'll jump back to the sprint, because it looks like we're just coming down the hill, coming into the final sprint here. So let's make sure we don't miss the action. So it looks like Engstrom's trying to follow the wheel, trying to keep it close. I wonder when someone's going to pull the pin.
Still got the results up, I'm afraid.
Oh, sorry guys. There you go.
Yeah.
So it looks like O'Rourke is taking the lead. And she's pressing on. There goes O'Rourke.
Come on.
Let's see if she can get it. Looks like
Oh,
Engstrom's going to time
closing.
this well. Oh,
It could well be. Oh no!
that was well raced by
no.
Engstrom.
Not enough.
Just followed the
Haribo.
wheel, destroyed it at the
well
end.
Done, Engstrom.
So
Well done. Good sprint.
yeah,
No,
big effort
good battle
there.
between the two of them. Good battle between the two of them.
Yeah, definitely.
Well done, ladies.
Well done, ladies. Well done, Engstrom. Big points there for SC as well, coming out of the women's cat. As we mentioned before, all of the categories count towards the overall results. So great to see so many teams doing well and showing up. Just to quickly jump through the results. So it looks like Cryogen and Rhinos did well in the C+ cat along with TFC. In the DCAT race, we haven't got results yet. And then if we jump down into the A, B, and C races, looks like Zwaluin, SE, Cryogen, and then BRT. Again, pretty good spread. Lots of different teams showing up, which is great to see. And again, thank you very much for your support. We mentioned earlier, TFC seemed to have done pretty well in the BCAT. ART up there in 11th. And yeah, good spread of teams. So, yeah, I think with that, we will call it there. And I would bring you back on. Oh, you're back, Chris. You've joined us again on camera.
I am. Yes.
So, well done.
Thought I would leave it just to the end. Any chance we could just have a quick flick through the rest of the ladies' cats, just to see how the A through the A through Ds went
in terms of the results? Let's see if they are up yet. Trying. There we go. So looks like SE took the ACAT, followed by Cryogen, and then Swift Scotland. These are all provisional, obviously. In the BCAT, Cryogen, then SE, then ART, and Swift Scotland. And in the CCAT, SE, ART, and DZR. Be a few seconds until we get the DCAT races, but we saw that one anyway. So good range of teams. Thank you very much for your support. And yeah, thank you very much for your help tonight, Chris.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
And yeah,
wish I was racing, but there we go.
Next time.
More fun drinking beer. So thank you. Thank you to all the riders for providing the fun.
So thank you for the support, everyone. We'll see you again next week. Time for me to get busy in Excel and calculate all the results for you all. And we'll see you again next week. So thanks for now.
Thanks, guys.